Hi guys, and welcome back. Josh and I recently saw 50 Shades of Grey, and we're going to tell you what we thought of it.
Alright, so 50 Shades of Grey is starring Dakota Johnson as Anastasia Steele, who is a student at University of Washington at Vancouver, to be really specific. And she has a roommate who is studying journalism. Well, the roommate gets the flu, and so Anastasia says, I'll go interview Mr. Grey for you.
Even though I'm a virgin.
And so she goes up to the building, and of course the Grey building is very intimidating by itself.
Mm-hmm.
And all the staff is kind of like immaculate, very clean, and very just great. And so she walks into the room to interview Mr. Grey, and she's obviously not very good at this.
Very intimidating.
Yeah, very intimidating.
By him. He has like an intimidating presence almost. And so she's asking him these questions, and she's like, "Are you gay?" Wait a sec, what? And she's like, "Oh, that was my roommate that asked that." And so he's just like, "I don't care about what these questions are. Tell me about you." And so she's just she's like, "There's not much to tell. Like, I mean, look at me." And he's like, "I am." You know, you guys seen that from the trailers, but. So they kind of get this weird like vibe, like he wants her, but she's intimidated by him. So she kind of, and then it starts the long line of her biting her lips. I've counted 4,335 times she bites her lip in this movie. So she goes back and she says, "Oh, well," the roommate's like, "How was it?" And she's just like, "Oh, it was okay." So rest of the day, she's run of the mill, She ends up working at this hardware store, and he ends up coming in. He's like, "All right, I want rope and twist ties and tape," and she's just like, "Wow, okay, here you go." So they kind of flirt a little bit there, and he kind of sends her some mixed signals a little bit, and so they go later on and they get photographs of him for one of her friends, and they're still like sending mixed signals. So they go out for coffee, and then they end up going back to his place, and after he sends her like immaculate gifts, like first edition books. Yeah.
You and I were just like, "Oh my god!"
First edition. Yeah, exactly. We were freaking out. The only people in the theater that were freaking out. And so he sends them those, and they start flirting a little bit, and they start like, getting a little into it more, and then their relationship kind of develops from there.
Yeah, and the big takeaway for Anastasia is when she finally sees the Red Room of Pain and all his kinky sex toys and stuff like that. But for a movie coming from a source material heavily sexualized, heavily basically porn for women, let's be honest. It's catered for women. Quite tame of a movie, and I think that's really what's going to alienate a lot of fans of the book, is they're going to be kind of disappointed. They're not going to get that same kind of like rush, adrenaline rush, and sexual pleasure from reading like they would in the book from the movie, because it's really tame. The most awkward parts are the dialogue scenes between Christian Grey and Dakota Johnson's character, Anastasia.
Yes.
Because you have basically a two-dimensional character of Jamie Dornan playing Mr. Grey, and he's just like, "Oh no, my childhood, I'm a monster," and she's like, "Oh no, I'm a little virgin flower, but I'll do anything you want."
Such awkward dialogue. That's what we were talking about earlier. Was Jamie Dornan's character, like the acting was good. Dakota Johnson was good in it. She did what she can with the source material, and like the source material wasn't good in the first place. It was Twilight fan fiction that they adapted to make this best-selling book. Terribly written, horrible dialogue, but Dakota Johnson did what she could with it, and Jamie Dornan did what he could with it too. It was just that he was given such bad lines, like they were cheesy and they were almost cartoonish in a way. And that, like I said, the acting was good, and the directing was okay by Sam Taylor Johnson. She is kick-ass. Aaron Taylor Johnson's wife, Quicksilver from Avengers, Godzilla, but it was flawed from the start, I think, but for what it was, it was good. It was okay.
Yeah, Matt and I walked out of the theater going, we are shocked, because that's actually a pretty good movie. But if you want to see a movie with raw intensity and overly sexual themes, go watch Wolf of Wall Street, because that's a much stronger movie with equally sexual stuff.
Right.
This movie has a lot of nudity. It has a lot of the language is probably worse than the acts themselves. That gives it this R rating. But overall, the actual sex acts themselves are probably, just short of something you'd see in any other movie. It's not really that shocking.
Right.
And so, really, just the few key points are there was weak acting. It was kind of doomed from the start, but they ended up pulling out a mildly decent movie. And the end made me go, where's the sequel? Where's the sequel? Because it was so unsatisfying of an ending.
Yeah, that was another drawback of the movie was the ending, because like we were going in thinking standalone, and it was a huge drawback just to see that they're setting it up for the sequel. And so, like we said, there were a couple good parts of the movie. We were entertained throughout. I don't think there was a single kind of like boring moment in the movie. It kind of kept me along, but I mean there were some boring scenes, but it kept me along. So my final thoughts on it, I would. If you want to go see this movie, go see it. By whoever you are, go see the movie. Do the super bargain matinee though. I mean, it's not worth full ticket price. If you skip it, that's completely fine too. It's one of those movies that you're just bored and you're like, I want to go see a movie. There you go see it. So what were your final thoughts?
I mean, if you want to be like LeBron and you don't want to miss the TV show because everybody's talking about it at practice, go watch this movie, because I guarantee you lots of people are going to be talking about this. If you want to be part of the discussion, go ahead and see it, because it's actually a decent film. And now, is it the greatest film in the world? No, we all knew that going into it, but we were mildly surprised, and that's the real takeaway from this movie.
So guys, what do you think of 50 Shades of Grey? Have you seen it yet? Are you going to? Are you going to take your girlfriend to see it and have mildly awkward sex afterwards? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe for more great content.